Okay, well, I'm a senior at Michigan State. I'm a communications and PR major.
My condolences.
Thank you. For my class, we have to interview like marketing, PR people in like the Lansing area.
She was recommended to us by Kathy.
Yeah. I work at Downtown Lansing Inc. I'm their communications and marketing intern right now.
Kathleen is outstanding. She used to be at CATA, and so she was our connection for the Clean Commute Options program.
Oh, okay. Nice.
We love Kathleen.
So do I. She's great. So yeah, basically, I just will start off with like what your responsibilities are here at PACE.
I'm very irresponsible at PACE. Okay, so I handle all the public relations for all of our clients.
Okay.
Which range from like the Michigan State Housing Development Authority.
Yeah, I did a little bit of research on what you guys have been working on.
Yeah, so we have a mix of clients. We have like government agencies, we have bank, health care is a big one for us, education, foundation work, like nonprofits. We do a lot of work with the W.K. Kellogg Foundation.
Oh, okay, cool.
And in this day and age, their needs for public relations are greater than ever.
Why do you say that?
In part because the news media has been so downsized, and with the explosion in social media, between the two, they need communications more than ever because one of the things like we specialize in at PACE because we have like former journalists on staff, people who worked in the newspaper industry for a long time. So we do the work so reporters don't have to.
Nice.
And so in this day and age of, reporters constantly on 24/7 deadlines and bombarded with incoming messages, when you can write copy that's so clean they can literally cut and paste and put their byline on it, big, huge asset.
Nice.
And so there was historically, like public relations used to be like all kinds of like puffery and you didn't really have to do a lot of quote-unquote reporting, like attaching facts and other attribution of sources and that kind of stuff. The press releases that we do today are literally more like storytelling, but they're almost like non-traditional journalism.
Definitely. Yeah.
So that's sort of why, and getting those stories placed, being able to succinctly pitch stories to reporters and editors is a real challenge for a lot of people because they want to hem and haw. Whereas if you can pitch what the story is about in 30 seconds or less,
and
your chances of getting connected to a reporter or getting placement for that story is a lot greater.
Definitely.
So the key is can you pitch it in 30 seconds and give somebody a sense of what it's about?
Definitely. Okay, well that's good. Yeah, definitely a lot of people who have come into my class are like journalism majors and have transitioned to like the PR kind of career.
I'll tell you a good story. So I left journalism in 2001. I worked as a newspaper reporter with what was then known as the Booth chain. It's kind of like MLive today.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I worked at the Ann Arbor News, Kalamazoo Gazette, and then the Bay City Times.
Okay.
And when I left journalism in 2001, in that time, journalism was still fairly robust, and people were like, "Oh my God, you're going to the dark side," and I said, "No, man, I'm going to the green side because there's a lot more money." Well, now you come a decade later, and I can't tell you how many friends have called me and said, "Dude, can you connect me, or how do I get out of this? Because life is hell." I mean, the days of great journalism are gone.
Yeah, that's also connecting to one of my questions is how social media has affected like your paid. Do you do any paid advertising here, or like do you ever do any paid advertising that much anymore because of social media?
We do still do. So a lot of different clients have different needs. So our bank client is in a lot of small communities, so we do still paid placements in the local weekly papers because those are the communities they belong to. We do paid media for the social network, so sponsored posts are still things that you can dabble in, and depending on the client, how much they want to do and what the purpose is. A lot of it is traditional PR, just kind of making the placements, but a lot of that is helped by doing placements with those same publications. So there's still an avenue for both.
And I think where we've seen like changes, it used to be you put an ad out in a newspaper, TV spot, and a radio spot. Now with social media, there's a lot more in digital, like Pandora, and I mean,
So
I'm trying to think of Mishta with the down payment assistance for
We did a lot of pre-roll on YouTube.
You gotta explain what's pre-roll.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that before.
So when you watch a YouTube ad, or when you watch a YouTube video, when there's an ad that comes up before it, those are pre-roll.
Okay.
So some of them, longer ones, you can skip after like 5 seconds, but some of them are 15 seconds and you can't skip. So those are a paid form of paid advertising that you can get.
It's a good
that
point,
social network.
but yet like still like interactive, like multimedia type of advertising.
Right.
That's
so
interesting.
it used to be like you would place, if you had a TV spot, let's say 30-second TV spot. You either had broadcast, which is like NBC, CBS, the standard
channels,
Yep.
TV channels.
and then you had cable. Well, now you got Hulu, you got. And
so
my
many
daughter
more.
watches Hulu. I see more of our ads on Hulu through my
Oh,
daughter
really?
than I do on regular TV.
Definitely.
Digital gives you a lot more targeting, a lot more audience specific, and it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
than going
Speaking
to
of
TV.
like targeting, what ways do you guys approach like, I guess, reaching your target audience? Like, do you do specific like research like through like social media?
Very much. Because
What like
now,
programs do you use?
because of those different formats that we're talking about, it's essential that you do the research ahead of time, identifying your audience and the best platform to reach them.
Definitely.
And so the analytics, and Chelsea, because that's what she does.
Okay.
Research and policy. So
Awesome.
for every client, we kind of know who we're trying to reach and which message and then
Definitely.
which platform you need to target it for.
Okay.
So pretty much any new campaign starts with a strategic planning initiative.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's walk her through, like, let's give her an example for, would MESP be a good fit?
I haven't done much with them because we haven't.
MESP is the Michigan Education Savings Program.
Okay.
It's the one of the state's 529 college savings program. If you've
Oh,
ever heard
okay.
of Matt. But there's a definite demographic because, I'll give you another example, would be like the Capitol Airport.
Yeah, MESP has got clear audiences. So really what it is you want parents to start saving for their children's education, right? And the earlier you do it, the better. So your audience, though, is really any parent of, newborn up to like age 18 who sees their child as being college bound, which should be all parents in
Most
Michigan.
parents, yeah.
And so in theory you would think that's both genders, but it's not.
Yeah.
Like the key decision makers are women.
Are women, and it's usually
Is it 25, 54?
25 to 34 is really the
Right.
key.
And how did you like get that like specific target? Do you
So part of it is looking at what the client can offer us. So MESP knows, they have demographic information
okay.
on their account holders,
okay?
and
So
then
that
kind
helps
of
you
breaking that down. And then there's national research. There's a association of all of that does all the 529 plans. So you can pull from them, and then just obviously who are those parents? So 25 to 34 bridges both millennials and Gen Xers, I think is the next one up.
And the way they can get it too is they know who's opening the accounts because they have to sign up for it. And so they know like who's opening these accounts. Well, it's women. They're married, and then the husband might be taking a chunk of his pay and going into
Right.
designating it into the account, but it's the women who are
or the
opening
decision.
up the accounts. Right?
Yeah.
And the same is true with travel, for example, because believe it or not, and I was like, I don't know if you're trying to.
Kate's out, so I'm
Oh, okay. That would explain it. All right.
Okay.
Little woman on a totem pole. But Capital Region Airport's another one of our clients.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's another good example. Like we skew towards women because when it comes to travel decisions,
It's them who's
It's
booking the flights and
Yeah.
everything.
and deciding where they're going to go.
Definitely.
So we tailor our media buys to hit that demographic.
Okay.
And then there's some, you try and you see what's doing the best. So, you have a Facebook page, you try posting in the morning and see what kind of engagement and reach you get. You try posting in the afternoon, you try posting on the weekends. So with digital, you can play around a little bit better with.
Did we
Yeah.
what about
They're gonna-
chocolate milk?
I saw that one.
Did we do a target for that?
So the target for that, so the campaign was Refuel with Chocolate Milk, which is really targeting
And this is on behalf of the
athletes.
United Dairy Industry of Michigan, UDIM.
Okay.
So it's, you want to teach people or have them learn that chocolate milk is good for you after you exercise. It replaces all of these vital nutrients that you've just lost. It's got 11 essential vitamins. So we were looking at both parents of, student athletes, high schoolers, and kind of reaching out to coaches, parents, and that audience. And then we did a big push at runners because it is kind of a solo activity, and it's a little easier. So we did like a sponsorship of a bunch of 5Ks and marathons and half marathons where we gave it to them to be like, you know, it sounds kind of weird, but it's delicious. It's like a treat, and it's actually good for you. It's better than the Gatorade you've been drinking.
Interesting. So pushing yourself out to be more public in like events. You do like event sponsorship here and stuff like that. Okay.
We staged a bunch of 5Ks, right, around the state?
We sponsored a bunch of 5Ks.
So they handed out the milk at the back end of these things.
Oh, nice.
And got all kinds of social goodwill.
Okay.
And there was a lot of attendant, you know, a cheer tent and signs along the course. I mean, it's beyond, you know, just handing out the milk. It's kind of leave behind.
So they had these great pictures too that they could post on Facebook of people after the race sucking down chocolate milk like beer. So.
Nice. Okay.
Not that anybody would suck down a beer because that would be wrong.
That would be bad after a race, probably.
Especially in Michigan State.
You might want it. Oh yeah, that'd be really wrong. Okay, kind of just going back to social media, I guess. That's mainly like my concern. I guess what's been proven to be the most effective like digital, I guess, social media strategy? Like, is it Twitter? Is it like Facebook or any other, or maybe even like an example of like a client that, you know, gained a lot of like momentum from using like social media or anything like that?
So for us, a lot of our clients, we've had to kind of push them into social media.
Okay.
They're a little reluctant
Hesitant.
to kind of take that step.
Why do you think that is?
A lot of the decision makers are, you know, older individuals that are not really as
kind of new to it.
and it can seem scary. Your customers have a direct interaction with you where you don't know what they're going to say and you can't control it. So for us, a lot of it's been coming to them with a well-developed plan. Here's what we're going to focus on for our content. Here's how you deal with somebody who's upset.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
These are the key steps, and you know, alleviate those fears before you even start.
Yeah.
For our clients, I would say Facebook's kind of been the go-to.
Yeah.
Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr are all just a little bit more specialized. We have clients that would do well, and we are pushing to kind of expand there. So, like, the airport's an example of one that could be very good for an image-heavy site like Instagram or Tumblr.
Yeah, definitely. That would make sense.
You know, the chocolate milk one, we're trying to push out, you know, information about chocolate milk, which isn't necessarily the most visual of content. It's a lot of informational one. So unless you can devote the time to really making that, it's not a good fit.
Yeah.
And two, it has to be right for the client because for a lot of our clients, particularly like government agency, like the State Housing Authority, for example, they have a Facebook page, but for the most part, they're trying to prevent foreclosure. They're dealing with issues that people are very sensitive and want to mostly remain private about. So people don't really go to the State Housing Authority's Facebook page for advice on how do I prevent losing my home to foreclosure.
Definitely. You have to look at
and
the
same
client
would be true.
for sure.
So for healthcare, most people, like from our research, has found that they don't make their healthcare choice decisions, what kind of health insurance package to buy, or you know, am I covered under this? They don't look to social media for expertise on making that kind of a decision. And so much of our work is on like behavior change and information, and there's other platforms where on limited budgets they can dedicate using us, like utilizing those resources more effectively. Social media isn't always a good fit. I know it's like the buzzword, you know?
Yeah, definitely. No, it really is. And
but the other thing I would tell you too, in terms of what is essential in terms of social media, I mean, it's exploding and it's out there. And it can be done correctly, but the key is, and it still holds true, is anybody can say they have a Facebook page or anybody can do Twitter, but it still comes down to being a good communicator. Like, if you don't write well, it doesn't matter whether you're doing a traditional press release, Facebook, or Twitter. If your content, and I said this to any number of kids and reporters who've asked, like, how's this impacting PR? Content is still king. Yeah. And if you're not a good writer, and so many of these kids we've seen, like, who want to get internships here and stuff, and I'll say, well, let me see your writing. I look at the writing, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah,
you know,
it's definitely
you can say you're a writer, you know, just like you can say, oh, I'm a social media expert, but if you're not an effective communicator, it really doesn't matter what you're doing because no one's going to read that content.
Definitely. That's why I think journalism is such a easy transition to PR.
My daughter's a freshman at U of M right now, and she says,
well,
to my wife's chagrin, she wants to go into doing what I do, except do it better.
Learn from your mistakes.
And I said, well, kid, get grounded in the fundamentals, and that means journalism. I'm not saying go into journalism as a career, but you cannot go wrong by working at the State News is what the MSU paper is, right? State News, or the Michigan Daily. And so next semester she's going to start writing at the Daily. Because it teaches you like a news pyramid, how to organize your thoughts, writing on a deadline.
And even pitching ideas and like brainstorming ideas of what it's going to attract, like an eye and stuff like that.
Yeah, so you know how reporters think and how editors think. Huge asset. Man, you can write your own ticket if you got that skill set. And so many of these kids coming out of MSU public relations school or the marketing schools don't have that fundamental skill set.
It is kind of interesting.
They think it's sitting around making a TV commercial. It's like, what?
No, it definitely is content, which I've definitely learned at Downtown Lansing Inc. is it's a lot of you can have all these ideas, but you have to just know really what you're promoting. Like Kathleen was always like, you need to sample before you promote. She always would tell me that. It's kind of funny. But she's great.
We didn't even mention that, but the other thing that we do, at least at the start before we ever launch campaigns, if it's a big campaign, is we do focus groups.
Oh, okay,
Which are really fascinating. If you've never had a chance to watch one, like observe it.
Yeah, I want to. People have talked about that in my class,
We did a Ingham Health Plan. It's a county government organization that helps people access medical coverage if they don't have health insurance.
Okay.
And this past year, 2012, November, they were the only organization. There's 83 in Michigan. Each county has one. And they were the only one in the state that successfully passed a property tax millage increase to help fund the program. And so before we launched our ballot initiative, because we crafted the wording and everything, we were testing our messages. And so we did a focus group study, way better than a poll.
Yeah, I mean, you think so?
Yeah, you could have done a poll that says, "Oh, are we, do you support this increase or not?" and gotten a read. But the focus group results were way more essential to our success than any kind of poll would have been. A poll is like a snapshot at that particular time, whereas the focus group influenced how we put the word on the ballot.
Definitely.
Put the language on the ballot.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
The difference between qualitative and quantitative, and when they're useful, a lot of the qualitative focus groups actually talking will get you deeper into a topic. So you know kind of what the message needs to be. So someone might say they want low cost on things, but what they really want is something that will last for a while and is pretty and and they would like it to be cheap, but when you kind of compare, this is what's really underneath the low cost.
One of the things that's so cool about working
says more than numbers, getting like their attitude and behavior about it. Which...
And I think one of the things that we like or enjoy being in this industry, PR and marketing, is because everybody thinks it's like a creative, and you're working with artists and stuff.
Yeah.
But so much of that creativity can't be done until you do the research first. It's not like these ideas come from nowhere. It's all grounded on research and study. Yeah,
I know one guy who came in was like, you better like math or like get into math or like doing like statistics and doing like research like that because it is like super key to getting information.
Or if you can't, because like I hate math, you just hire talented people who know how to do it.
So do I. Right? Okay, you do that.
I can barely do my expense account, so.
You come back to me and then I'll take it from there. That's funny.
Percentages aren't that hard. I'm pretty sure Mike is aware.
I think of it as a pizza. And
more than 50%.
That's so funny.
I know how to tip 20, so I know how to do 20%.
I can handle it.
That's funny. I was looking just at your guys' website before I came in, obviously doing a little research. You were doing Lansing First Fridays. Have you guys done anything more about that, or what exactly did you do for them? Just because I sit on their board, so I do I kind of know a little bit more about that.
So that was Emily's more than mine.
Christina
and Emily.
Did they more so do it? She should be here.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I feel bad. I don't want to take everyone from their work.
We love talking about ourselves.
Okay. I love it.
Yeah, we had worked.
Excuse me.
I haven't, because we're not really handling any of it anymore as far as I know.
I know, because they kind of have died down. So it's kind of just an example of how maybe you did help them, and I feel like I've been going to their meetings and they've kind of just been dead with the idea and how maybe you could help them or what you really did for them, I guess.
Because we were doing a lot of like the social media and like a lot of the background, but it was one specific person in our office who isn't here anymore.
Yeah, oh, okay.
But I don't know, the start of the relationship and how it came about. But that is a problem with, you have to kind of maintain
I'll tell you what,
all of this.
two things. Christina, I know what she's doing. She stepped out because she's buying supplies for,
that's okay.
Are you going on this tour today? Or?
Oh, I saw the studio bar.
Yes.
I saw it, but I didn't really understand what it was. There wasn't that much info about it. It was just like a studio bar crawl, and it's like, okay, where are you going?
I'll send you an email because I got an email address.
Yeah, it's so the first part is actually just like going studio to studio, and then there's like an afterglow and party and
oh, cool. Yeah, I saw that.
But I think pretty much all of the agencies in Old Town and a couple of others kind of come in, we'll show you our workspace and what we're working on.
I should do that. That's a good way. Yeah, it was like $10 or something.
$10 today, but it was $5 in advance.
Is it only today?
Yeah.
Okay.
2 to 6, and then the afterglow is at the art museum across the street.
Oh, cool.
Like, free drinks.
That's a good idea to even just talk to people.
But that's what she's doing, and I don't have the answer on the First Friday thing.
That's okay.
We did do.
It's just because I know a little bit more about it, but that's okay. I understand. I was just kind of. I guess I could generalize and say, what if? Because I know that they're kind of dying in terms of like the idea. It's hard. They're having a hard time defining like their audience and like who they're really reaching to. I think their geographic is way too big, just in my opinion. They're trying to reach out to too many areas, but like in that sense, if you have like a client where it's not really working, I guess what your advice would be to them to, I guess, solve.
I'm doing some of this from memory, but because I was thinking it was CATA, but it's not. We were involved with it to help CATA, but it wasn't like CATA time. So in other words, we weren't billing our time to CATA for that. Because CAT is just a member of the First Fridays organization, right?
Yep, they do like the free, they do the free rides and stuff. Yep, and the trolley.
So that was their contribution to it. So we were helping to promote CATA's role in it, but
I see.
But that was a broader board. So in other words, the ultimate decision makers was not CATA alone in terms of who you're marketing to. So in that big of a group, I could see where they might be off target because it's not like they're going to necessarily listen to our recommendation because they're their own.
Place.
And that's hard when you have multiple, leaders or voices and nobody can kind of make a decision and really steer something. You always kind of see it.
I think it'd be interesting to do like, would it be more effective, like what you're saying is like micro target, like just say, let's just focus on MSU Greeks.
Right, or something
smaller. And allocate all of our resources into getting the Greeks at MSU's campus to come downtown on a free bus ride, which they probably don't even know about because none of them have ever heard of what First Fridays are.
Yeah, no one has. Actually, it's kind of sad because it's kind of cool, and there's a lot of places in East Lansing that do it, and students have like no idea about it.
My son graduated from MSU, and he loved coming downtown Lansing.
Right. Well, that's very rare nowadays. It's rare. No students want to come even to Old Town or like Lansing. And it's kind of, I don't know. They're all in their little bubble.
Well,
but I mean, it's fine.
I think when the baseball season comes back, because he used to do the Thirsty Thursdays.
Oh yeah.
So there was a ton of kids.
I guess Lug Nuts is a big thing to make kids come downtown. I know I actually worked on, we did this new student welcome back event called Downtown Lansing 101, and we were trying to like get LCC, Cooley, Davenport, MSU students just downtown. So we worked with all like the restaurants to do like a special or something just to like have kids come downtown. It was hard to do.
I've seen that.
The promotion was pretty hard to do just because we had literally like 2 weeks to do it.
Have you heard of this thing that they're doing at the Lansing Center that is on Friday nights, and it has something to do with paintball, and it's music. And
is it?
Is that
Dayglow?
My daughter,
Dayglow. Yeah, I've been.
It's not every Friday.
Yeah, it's not every Friday.
It's like a.
That'd be sweet if it was.
My daughter goes to U of M, and so she went to it on that Friday night. She's like, "Well, I did it once, and I'm glad I said I could do it," but she didn't think it was all great. But the line was huge.
Oh yeah,
you asked me if I went to a rave.
Oh right.
Dayglow is as close to a rave as most people go.
Have you gone to Dayglow?
I haven't. I keep being out of town whenever it's here.
It's interesting.
But apparently, because she goes, because we were driving, she came in for the U of M MSU football game. We were driving past Bud Count's auto dealership on Michigan Ave, right off the expressway. And she goes, "Oh, I was just there." I was like, "What the hell are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, Dad, it was packed. We had to take a bus, and all these people were at the Civic Center." And I'm like, they allow paintball at the Civic Center? What? And so she's telling about this whole thing. And I was like, I didn't know that. So, but she said tons of MSU students, like it was packed with MSU students.
Yeah.
And that's where it's social, because I mean, if you're really targeting, you know, college students, social is a place to get them, as well as, you know, like Hulu and YouTube.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can get literally $5 on Facebook for targeted ads to just have them pop up, because half the battle is getting them to know and breaking through. Yeah, I think we've done sponsored ads for $5.
Yeah, really?
It doesn't.
Yeah,
it gets you somewhere, but
you
don't have to spend a lot to kind of draw
Do you
that
ever
attention.
use, I think, doesn't Facebook have more like analytics that they use, or like Google Analytics?
Google Analytics are great.
Yeah, you use those here a lot
Big
for
time.
clients?
Because, see, that's the other thing, like when Chelsea was talking about qualitative versus quantitative. Whenever, and this would have been like several years ago, but like when social media was starting to become more and more prevalent, the thing I was always saying is, when you do a traditional public relations, you can quantify, show results to clients quantifiably, because you can say, look, here's the story, it reached this many number of readers, or their circulation is X. Or if you do something on the TV news, you know the ratings for that TV news broadcast, you know approximately how many people watch it, so you can have quantifiable numerical results.
Yeah.
And so the thing with social media was, I was always saying, well, how do you just, like, show me what the impact is to the client, how many people are they reaching? And initially, until recently, there really wasn't an effective way to do that. Now, with the analytics that they have, it's amazing how well you can track that stuff.
Yeah,
and
I
again,
wanna
that
learn
helps
more
drive
about
the demographics. Like, you know, you see that and see whether you're reaching the right people, how long are they staying on your page. So that's a way to measure
That's cool.
how strong your content is how much time are they spending
On your page and looking at how long on each page.
Yep.
I know. I want to learn more how to use analytics, because a lot of people, just like speakers that have come in, have like raved about how like great like they've been using it. And
Google Analytics are super easy to set up. So if you have a website that you kind of own, that you have, it's easy to turn them on, and then it's just literally logging in to it and playing around and finding everything. I'm sure there are tutorials that'll get you more in depth, but like, I can tell you from our chocolate milk thing that the athletes page and section was viewed 68% of all traffic went to that page.
Yeah, that's
so we
super
were driving
cool.
athletes over parents or you know, other audiences that have
How
other
did
sections.
you? Yeah. No, that makes sense.
And so,
More
for
direct,
example,
like
too,
information.
you can, and that's a statewide campaign, so that's a good analogy, because you can also see where they're from. So you might be underrepresented in a certain part of the state and go, how come we're not getting more in West Michigan? We're getting all this interest, traffic from Southeast Michigan. We need to do better in West Michigan, so we should do something in Grand Rapids, or, you know.
That's interesting. Yeah, Google Analytics. I would definitely want to take more of a look into that, because
I've not done. Is there Twitter analytics?
that's
Twitters are, you can pay for different things through like third
Yeah.
parties, like Radiant 6 will get you there, but those are fairly expensive and not as
I'm
robust.
fascinated by Snapchat. Have you guys heard about that?
yeah. I actually
It's
read
on the front page today of the New York Times.
I read an article.
They just turned down $1 billion.
That's
offer.
exactly what I read
They
like
think
this
they're gonna get more in
morning.
the future, but I think it's cool because
I
I was wondering.
I think they're crazy
I got to read the story.
for turning
But
that
think about
down.
how would you come up with that concept? Because you think, was it Kwame Kilpatrick? So you can send these text messages and messages to people, and they disappear
Yeah.
within seconds. And it's like, if Kwame had that, he could still be mayor today. Who knows?
Yeah, I remember first hearing about it. Actually, it was right around this time last year, and I was on a trip, and I was like, it just sounds like it's for sexting.
Yeah, right. I
But,
think
like,
it's silly.
But I
don't
have
know.
it now.
I
It's
don't-
totally addicting. I was like, yeah, I'll just send you what I'm doing right now.
I'm not
You
really.
do have
that
it?
into
You're
it.
using it?
I use it all the time.
All the time.
Really?
You want to be Snapchat friends, Mike? I'll send you pictures of my desk.
You guys can Snapchat from across the office.
Do you have to send a
That's funny.
picture, or can you do it just as a text message and the message disappears?
It's a picture
It's
Oh,
and a
yeah.
video.
And
If you
video.
want,
I mean,
yeah.
you can do, like, you can write a message, but they're really, really short. Like,
How many characters are you limited to?
probably.
It's like the screen, like
Yeah,
whatever
it's
fits in the
probably
How
screen.
big a
less
phone
than
are you
100.
carrying? My
Well,
screen.
just this screen. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I would say probably like 5 words average.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
pretty short.
you can draw.
Look
on
at
You can draw on the
it.
screen.
That's
So
funny.
yeah, I think I sent one, and I got back a picture of a black background. So she like photographed the wall and then wrote me a message.
Oh, that's interesting. I always do the same face. I can't make that many faces. I'm like, like smiling, thumbs up.
But to bring it full circle, again, whether it's those 5 words, you know, like you guys know way more about the different Pinterest and Instagram and Snapchat and all that shit. There's all those different things out there. There are all these new toys, and there'll always be more new toys coming.
Right.
Oh, I'll be right back.
Not a problem.
There's always more toys coming, but ultimately, it's still, even if you're limited to 5 words, you better make those 5 words count.
No, it's
and so, even though I might be considered a dinosaur, my skill set is like always going to be needed because you still have to maximize the, you know, expertise on it.
Yeah, like the content. That's
And I think one of the other things, so like going back to kind of First Fridays or driving that, so like more of the PR research is, or PR outreach, not research. So Mike spends like 50% of his day on the phone talking to somebody.
Okay.
So that's, I mean, but that is very much an old school way of getting things done, although it still works better than email because people love to ignore their email.
Yeah,
but
right.
you know, like targeted outreach to different student groups to send it out to their listservs are going to get you just kind of penetrating a little bit because people aren't generally asked to do a lot. So when you give them just a little bit and you provide them with everything they need to do it, they're pretty inclined to help you out.
Okay. Yeah. What are you working on right now?
So me personally in research, so MSHDA, the Housing Authority, they do loans, and they're really good for kind of first-time home buyers and people with low to moderate incomes because they come with down payment assistance, which means you get $7,500 towards your house for free, and everybody loves free money.
Yeah, of course.
But the loan officers at the bank
Christina has returned.
Oh, good.
Oh, nice.
So we reached out and did like a survey to different loan officers across the state to figure out, you know, what are the key features? Why are you loaning MSHDA loans, or why aren't you? Why is it, you know, the first thing you think of, or something that you don't think of so often? So I've got a massive spreadsheet full of data that I'm trying to distill so that when we place ads or kind of go out and talk about this, we're talking about the things that will really resonate with the audience, which is the loan officers. Because we've done so for that we've done both consumer, so we've had the down payment fairy, who's really a consumer, so we did like cinema and pre-roll and a couple of other things that get that in front of consumers so they can go to their loan officer and be like, I heard about this thing where I can get free money.
Yeah, definitely.
But also to the loan officers where they be like, you can offer it, it's easy, it's not, you know, governmental red tapes and hurdles, but, you know, easy money to get.
Where did you get all that data from exactly?
So we actually did primary research, which can be kind of expensive, but we took both MSHDA's lists of people who've loaned from them, and then we worked with the Michigan Mortgage Lenders Association to get their list of members, and then we emailed out the survey link and then incentivized it, so we're giving out like 3 $500 gift cards or something
Nice.
for participating in a 15-minute survey.
Oh,
and
okay.
then we have a company who does all the compiling and analysis
nice.
all of those questions. So I
The
have
odd thing about that-
200 tab spreadsheet.
The odd thing about that,
It's really big.
Oh
It's
my
Chelsea won 2 of the 3 prizes. Go figure.
Oh,
I'm
really?
very lucky.
Nice. I am not lucky like that. That's funny.
She did not win.
No.
Oh.
And I'm not a loan officer, so I wasn't allowed to take the survey.
Right.
Oh,
But
that's
I
not fair.
wrote.
Come on.
Right?
But that kind of research there is, for those kinds of clients, I mean, it's so fundamental, you know, and it's something that a lot of people, I think, take for granted or overlook and don't think about how important it is to have the science behind that creativity.
So then do you take, like, for instance, like her research and then you kind of take the ball from there, and then what would you do? Like, she's doing, what's the Michigan home? Like, I was just asking her what she was working on right now.
So, for example,
Last time. Okay, Kate's going to do a mass email to give them away here.
yeah.
If no one takes them, do you want to take them and give them to someone at MSHDA maybe?
Yeah, me or Christina will take care of it.
Yeah.
All right, Mike.
What are they?
Monday night's MSU game, you want it?
Monday.
7 p.m.
Maybe who are they playing?
Free. Portland University.
Basketball?
Mike's got a conflict he
Yeah,
can't
I can't commit to that.
go. I'm doing a rave.
Monday night rave, no big deal.
Like,
Casual.
I'm trying to support U of M for basketball. We were so good last
Yeah.
year. I got over my love of tennis a little bit, but they're so good. It's hard
It's
for me
really, really
to
scary. You know what
fully
it's here is
commit
it's
to
totally
Michigan.
seeding, right? the man's damn near bald. His hair is receding so bad. When they do the overhead shots, I have to turn away. It's like horrifying.
Blinding.
God.
That's funny. Well, I don't know.
What was I going to tell you about that research thing about how that can affect it? Oh yeah, okay. So, so for example, in our messaging, if their top concern, if I was a mortgage lender, is my perception is that it's too full of red tape, so I'm not going to go there. Government bureaucracy. I might lead if I was going to write like an article for their trade publication that all the mortgage lenders read. I might write an article in the very first issue. The opening paragraph is going to talk about Michigan State Housing Development Authority loan program is red tape, right? Wrong. And then go on to explain it. So you lead with that. So based on the research, that tells you kind of like your pyramid, what you start off with the most, and then dumbing down as you go farther down the line.
Interesting.
So the research really kind of tells you what you should lead, because I mean, they have an idea of why people aren't or why people are, but it really kind of quantifies it and qualifies it.
I can give you another for an example. One of our clients, historically, although we don't have them right now, is the Office of Highway Safety Planning, OHSP. They're click it or ticket, anti-drunk driving and seatbelts, right? Compliance. When we took the account, the state of Michigan was one of the lower threshold. Yeah, 86%. One of the lower states in the nation for seatbelt compliance. When our campaign was done, we were number 1 in the nation for seatbelt compliance.
Did you do the click it or ticket campaign? Or?
That was a national, so the way that works is different states have different things and kind of run at different times, but they're given a lot of leeway in how you present and what you do present. So some of them are national, so I think drive sober, get pulled over, and their ticket are like, they're 2 real headline messages, but how you implement it can change and vary between states. So we did a lot of work with different targeting. I know there's a lot of work in bars. I wasn't here when I was when that was going on.
That's a good idea, though.
But I do know, like, we did all the TV ads for those campaigns because each state did their own TV spot. So you use the click it or ticket was the message, but you do your own, as a state, you do your own TV spot. So if you've ever seen, like, there was a spot that we did where the guy is shackled to a keg. Like, he's got a ankle shacklet, and there's a keg, and he's dragging it like down the street. Well, that was our spot.
Interesting.
And so,
That's funny.
The research from that, though, what motivates people to wear their seatbelt or not, and so, or what drives people to not drink and drive, and it's not a message based on fear. A fear message was counterproductive. So, like, if you do this, you're going to pay out $2,000 or whatever. A fear message didn't resonate with the target audience that we were trying to reach.
It's kind of interesting because it is kind of like a threatening like situation. You think it like...
And you would think, oh, we'll scare them to death.
Yeah, exactly.
But for the demographic, which was like single males...
The demographic is really... They get very specific with that one because there's a lot of research on it, but it's like 18 to 24-year-old single males who drive pickup trucks
and chew tobacco or wear leather jackets or whatever.
They don't want the government to tell them to wear seatbelts.
It's a very targeted audience, but they're invincibles. You know, a lot of them don't have health insurance. Nothing's going to happen to me.
I don't care.
You know, a bullet ain't going to touch me. Well, so that fear message doesn't resonate. So that's why then they chose to use humor, or the creatives here used humor in the message because they will pay more attention and force behavior change. I should say force drive behavior change with a humorous message.
Interesting. All right, well, I guess full circling everything because most of my... No, that's good. You guys are giving me so much information. I love it. Just like social media is like my primary like focus kind of. I guess how much I guess is too much social media do you think or too little? I guess people
I put it in a different context because this is the other thing that I was saying about social media is like what comes first, chicken or the egg? Okay. And I would say
I don't know where he's going with this.
Me neither. I'm interested.
Well, because I think traditional media, traditional public relations, old-fashioned earned media, like in the newspaper article.
Yeah, because newspaper is going down. That's one of the things we've been talking a lot about too.
But it's the newspaper stories, the TV stories that drive a lot of social media traffic. Did you read this? Have you seen this? Did you know this? So by doing our work on the front end through traditional public relations and earned media, earned meaning free,
Yes.
that can drive the social media chatter. So in order
That's
to
a good
really
point.
do social media like most effectively, it's ideal to have that front end work done so you have something to talk about.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I think to your question of, how much to do and what to do, it's you can really only do how much ever you can do well. So you need your content to be engaging, shareable, likable. You need people, your audience, to really get into it. So if you can only do that well for Facebook, then do it really well for Facebook. But if you can make that content, bridge to Twitter, to Instagram, then that's good, as long as that's where your audience is. A lot of people don't really think about who they're looking to try to do, what their goals are with each post or each, a strategy. And just, it's content. Just, I gotta post something today, I gotta post something every day.
Yeah, right.
And that gets tiresome, and people don't like just miscellaneous content littering their feeds.
No, I know, because that's one of like my duties is to do social media like every single week. Like I schedule tweets and Facebook like for every day for Downtown Lansing Inc. And honestly, like it gets tiring. And then I like go to Kathleen. I'm like there's like I've already tweeted about this like so many times. Like it's kind of overwhelming. Like even me doing it, I can like take myself out of my shoes and be like, okay, like I feel like I'm bombarding people.
But
like,
the other thing we look at when we do campaigns is you at the company or you doing it, you see it so much more than anybody else is paying attention to it. So you might be tired of that campaign within 6 months, but your audience might have only just started to notice it. So
That's
something
true.
that you're tired of in 6 months could actually last 3 years and still be making an impact all the way through.
That's true.
There's so much noise that you really have to break through, and it takes time and repeated exposure to get there.
Definitely. And another thing with just even social media in the future, do you guys believe it's like kind of like a buzz thing, a fad, or if it's gonna stick around for like a while? I don't know if some people think.
I mean, digital is the way of life right now. How much of that stays social media is going to be up for grabs. So depending on what is the dominant form, is Facebook always going to be the clear winner? Probably not. So you have to kind of adapt, and it's doing well what is popular without losing sight of what's coming.
Yeah, definitely.
So I mean,
I think Facebook is like dying in a way.
I mean, our generation
You're already
is
seeing
tired
it.
of it.
Yeah.
That's the trend
I
where young
am.
people are moving away from it
Yeah,
because
and
they
like
don't want to expose that much of their lives.
that, I mean, I think kids are definitely becoming smarter with like how much exposure you do get, and even like adults are like really into it, so we like don't want to be into it. It's I guess
When
narcissistic
grandma and
as
grandpa
that
have
is.
their own Facebook page,
Yeah.
you're going on your Facebook page.
Yeah,
it's
you're
I
like,
really
oh
wanna do
gosh,
this.
no, I don't want to do it. But
But at the same time, I can't envision a future where there isn't some sort of social networking. Now that we've grown so used to having the ability to connect with, the people we went to junior high with, and the people we went to college with, and that girl we met in the bathroom at that bar that one time.
yeah,
So
I think it's definitely gonna stick around for. I think it definitely made an impact on like the PR industry, for example, and it will always like stick around. But
and the tools might change.
yeah,
for
right,
social
which
media,
is
but
exciting.
what I
I
keep
think.
coming back to is if you're a good writer, good communicator,
No,
that's never going to change. So
Yeah. All right. Well, if anything else you guys like to
Yeah.
add?
no,
About-
you can call back if you got any other questions.
Yeah. No. Thank you so much for meeting with me.
Yeah,
It was good
I
talking.
always say we're easy like Sunday mornings. So.
Yeah, it is really relaxing here. I love the environment. It's super cool.
It
I've
used to
never,
be a lot
I
cooler.
got a little lost trying to find
Find
this
the
place.
building.
Oh yeah, Old Town. I should have told you, Girl
Well,
Scouts, but
No, oh yeah, no. I went into the Sir Pizza place.
Yeah.
I asked them.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Where is this? I don't know where I'm going." But no, I've definitely been down here a bunch. So